Anyway, Adam's often talking about rising energy prices. Bad news for a lot of us, but good news for some people and some companies. The firms who are making roof-mounted solar hot water equipment are being inundated with inquiries and predict that the number of installations will double in the coming year, with 20,000 roofs set to be fitted with solar systems. But is solar hot water worth it, and who is it best suited for? Simon Gompertz, who's covered all sorts of alternative energy subjects for this programme, has been out and about with an installer in East Sussex to find out.
We need to be clear what sort of solar we're talking about. It's solar thermal, where a fluid in the panel is being heated by the sun, and in its turn it heats the water in the hot water tank. It's not solar photovoltaics, where the panel is being used to generate electricity from the sun. And this solar thermal is by far the most established technology. Sun power is on the rise. The installers are overwhelmed with inquiries from people worried about their gas and oil bills, or just keen to go green. What do you hope to get out of it?
Well, we wanted really to do our bit for the environment and make the house more environmentally friendly, but with also the rising gas prices, it's a good time to see if we can reduce our gas bills.
Solar hot water has a checkered past. It's been dogged by rip-off stories and bad publicity. The advice from this firm, working in Horsham in East Sussex, is to insist on checking with previous customers to make sure the supplier is a good one, and to think carefully about how much benefit you'll get from the panels.
Well, traditionally it was sold into to retired couples who didn't use an awful lot of water, but now it's going into a mainstream, and families are adopting the technology, and they're gaining the most benefit.
Because the more showers, more baths you have, the more benefit you get.
That's right, yes. On
one of the panels, let's look at the economics. It would probably cost around £4,000 for the average home to get solar thermal. You'd hope to get 400 of that off in the form of a government grant. What would you get from it? Well, probably 70% of your hot water needs, if you're lucky, on average over the year. But as a proportion of your hot water and heating bill, it would be more like 20% in all that would come from the solar thermal panels. Do you expect to be saving money from it?
I think in the long term we will. I think in the first few years the savings we make on the energy bills will just be paying for the solar panels. But then a few years after that we should start making money.
And how do you feel seeing it going up there?
I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to getting them up and working and being able to take advantage of them in the nice weather.
Well, they're expecting at least 10 years plus for payback, and in fact it tends to be more of an emotional purchase for people at the moment still, even though the fuel prices are very high. But as we move into an area where the prices will just get higher, then it even makes more and more economic sense to do it as a practical energy-saving approach.
You have been showing a lot of interest in this subject, not surprisingly. For instance, Colin has just set up a company to supply solar hot water systems. And since the fuel cost shows no sign of coming down, says Colin, the payback period for these systems is being reduced all the time, he says. On the other hand, Peter from Essex, well, they have just had a solar hot water system installed, in spite of the fact they didn't think it was economically viable. They just wanted to be a bit more green. And as far as they can see, even with the increasing fuel costs, it's still well short of being viable, especially taking into account the cost of capital and maintenance. And also, there's the problem that the system provides little or no heating for several of the coldest months of the year. So, on the one hand, enthusiasm tempered by caution.
So this is Beechwood Hall, a local community hall that decided to go renewable when they rebuilt.
Not far away, I caught up with Howard Johns, an installer who speaks on behalf of the solar hot water industry, at a village hall with solar and wind power. He says that government plans for renewables mean that this year's flurry could be just the beginning.
It will be very common to have solar thermal on your house. You know, we only have 100,000 systems now, but there's a good chance in 10, 15 years' time, maybe 1 in 4 houses will have solar thermal.
How many is that?
That's 5 million houses. So we're about to undergo a step change in the solar thermal industry.
But as things stand, too many families will see solar hot water as a money loser. So the suppliers want the government to dangle bigger financial incentives in front of them.
This is the cause you should give.